Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome to the new game gym season, and today we're starting the season off right with a question that I get a lot. What is defaulting? This is a term that is used in many ranked games and is critical in team play. Today I want to talk about the basic levels of defaulting. There are many advanced level topics around the idea of defaulting, so setting a foundation is very important. Now, if you've heard what a default is, I want you to write down your own definition of what a default is for our warm-up. We're going to compare it to your new definition after today's video. If you've not heard of a default at all, then think about how you would lead a team to get as much information in a round as possible. Think about how you would do this for a couple of minutes, write it down, and we'll see what you think a default is at the end of the video. Now, what is defaulting? Defaulting on attack is a strategy used by teams to obtain certain goals such as map control, information gathering, burning utility from the enemy, and setting up executes. Defaulting slows the round down compared to simply just rushing and executing on site. The idea is to set up players around the map instead of having all 5 players on one part of the map. Okay, I'm going to go over the VOD of Fnatic vs EG and Masters Tokyo. EG is doing a default here, a 1-3-1 default. Defaults are usually split into like 2-1-2 defaults, 1-3-1 defaults. That number means how you split up the players. 1-3-1 meaning 1 player on one side, 3 players on one side, and 1 player on the other side. Now, 1-3-1 usually means mid control. The goal here is to get mid control, cut off utility like trips, alarm bots, etc., or try to get a pick. Most players in ranked, or most defaults you guys will be doing, are just defaulting to get a pick. And now in this VOD right here, I'm going to show you how they're going to do this. Now before I get into the mid default, I'm going to get into what the players on each side are actually doing. You might be thinking like, well, they're doing nothing. All the people mid are doing the hard work. They're actually getting info. Usually players, when they hear, guys, there's 3 mid, or guys, there's 3 B, they'll be pushing the flank on the other side of the map. These players will be holding that area down, or at the beginning of the round, if they hear that this is a rush towards one side of the map, they can run away and tell the team, guys, they're rushing towards A, we need to hit B. They're just information gathering. They're not making any solo plays unless they're lurking with some sort of utility, like this Viper can lurk with his wall, but he's just going to hold for information. So now let's get into it. As you can see, the 1 players on each side are just getting the information. They're not going to push this holding, and they're in positions where they can easily run if it is a B main push or A main push from the defenders. Now the mid control that they got here, they're setting up for a pick. Demon 1 is currently looking for a pick, and you can see here that through the mid control, Demon 1 is set up perfectly in male, and now he's going to look for the pick. He gets it, and now he's going to get out. So that is the default towards mid. The 1-3-1 worked perfectly. They got the space control, they got mid, and they actually got a pick. So once they got this pick, this is what you guys should do. You guys should group up and hit a site. So you can see here, EG, after getting the pick, they don't take the space. They instantly group up into a 4-1, and they're going to exec B. They're going to leave the race to lurk towards mid, and boom. So now it's a 5v4, and it's an easy site take. So this is how you guys want to default in ranked. Defaulting to work for a pick, to group up and take the site, or you guys can get the pick and take the space, but it is kind of risky. And you can see they leave the lurk because of the man advantage and the space they got from taking mid. You guys can leave lurks here. You can default, take the space, leave the lurk there, go on the other side, right? So that's the power of defaulting. This is how EG does it. Try to take like elements from this 1-3-1, 2-1-2s, and try and get defaulting in your ranked games. So to touch on why we default, it's It's important because rushing sites every round is very one-dimensional, and teams can simply stack the site and crush your executes. Defaulting will help teams slow down the round and get information of the opposing team. Remember, information is king. Through default, you can see if there's a sentinel set up on the site, or if there's a stack on one side of the map. Defaulting will give you information and map control, and if done correctly, those two assets will help you win the round. As I mentioned earlier, defaulting can also burn utility from the opposing team and help you in the post play. Alright, great pressure through default, and it will definitely burn, darts, smokes, flashes, dogs. Burning this utility will help you in the side take and in the post plans. Now for our scrim with purpose, I want you to write down your new and improved definition of defaulting and compare it with your warm-up. Now that you have done this, let's try it out in our unrated or ranked game. While on attack, call for the team to do a default and play around the map, get map control, a pick, ult orbs, destroy utility, or burn the enemy's utility. Make sure there's a goal in mind when you guys are defaulting. Say, let's default 1-3-1 or 2-1-2, and let's look for a pick. Make sure your team is in sync so the defaults will go out as planned. I hope you learned a lot about defaulting. This is definitely a question I get a lot, so I'm glad I got to touch on this. There are many things related to default that I want to get into in future videos, so stay tuned for that. See you guys.